Ruby Raut from WUKA. Welcome to Brand Growth Heroes. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you, Fiona. It's so great to see you in
I,
person.
I feel like we're friends, even though we have never seen each other in person, because we did have a phone call about 3 years ago before I got diagnosed with cancer. And we had a click, and I'm watching you grow, your business grow, and the impact that you're having on people's lives. And you're incredible. You're absolutely incredible. I can't wait to share your story on Brand Growth Heroes. So start by telling us, for those listeners who don't know what WUKA is, what it is, where to find it, and then tell us how you ended up building the business and how you did it.
So WUKA actually stands for Wake Up Kick-Ass.
Wake Up Kick-Ass.
We wanted to bring like a very positive note to period. And if we do design and sell period underwear, underwear that absorbs your blood, absorbs your sweat, absorbs your pee. And then basically they are leak-proof underwear, and you just reuse them again. So they are reusable period underwear or sweat-proof underwear or pee-proof underwear, whatever you call it. But basically they're an absorbent apparel that you can wear, wash, reuse. They will save tons of tampons and pads going to landfill. They are super comfortable and save you tons amount of money as well.
First in the UK, right? Weren't you the first brand in the UK?
We were the first in the UK. So in 2017, we actually coined the term period pants. There was no category in there at that time. Because in the UK, we call it pants, right? In America, they call it underwear or undies kind of way. So in the Google, you have to go and search period pants. And if that did not exist, then you got to create it. So
amazing.
Very much. Yes.
And did this exist in the USA or somewhere else before you?
They did. And they were very much like your just leak-proof underwear. So you still had to wear pads and tampons on your heavy days. So they were very much like a protective kind of underwear. For me, it didn't serve the purpose. If you're making a period underwear, make it a period underwear, like you don't have to use anything. And I think that was such a new concept for people. Like, what? You just free bleed into your pants?
Absolutely.
Kind of feeling.
I can remember when I came across that, I thought, no, it's not possible. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I tried it and it did work. And it was incredible. And no smell and no feeling and no anything. It was just an incredible thing. So tell us, how did you end up building this business? Because the business, I heard, just to give people an idea, so you employ 17 people. And do you mind sharing with us what kind of size the business is in terms of turnover?
We are doing nearly 5 million turnover at the moment. Amazing. With 17 people.
And loads of growth.
Bootstrapped.
Oh my God. Pants strapped by the pants by the strapped by the seat of your pants. Okay, so start at the beginning. Tell everyone this amazing story. People keep listening. You're not going to believe this. Go for it.
So it all starts when I was 12 years old, and nothing clicked in until I started the business, right? So 12, I'm at home in Nepal, my first period. My mum gives me her oldest sari, very absorbent cotton, and then she cuts them into small pads and then folds it, and she says to me, like, these are your menstrual product for the rest of your life. And at the same age, she goes to me, well, this is your first period, so you can't stay at home because you can't be seen by your dad. So she tells me to go and stay at my aunt's house. Now, my aunt has got 2 cousins, and I was actually really excited and looking forward to staying with them, only to realize that when I went to their house, very much I had like this tiny room, bed on the floor, cups, bowl, plates separated, and very much you're not allowed to come 7 days out of that room.
My God.
And it's petrifying, like when you are so young, when you want just love and cuddles and fun and play with everyone, you're just being isolated. And I felt horrible. The horrible part was like when the food was often passed on the floor rather than even given in hand, because you were really deemed as one of the most untouchable, dirty person, So I came back home and I told my mum, I was like, I'm never going to do this again.
And what did she say?
It was she said like, oh, you don't have to do it. But, culturally, every 4 days a month, you can't go to kitchen. You can't cook. You can't clean. We will serve you everything. And now I know the story behind it, why they did it, because, in my great grandmother's time, they never had any pads or any even cloth pad, you know. So when they had their periods, they used to walk around. There used to be trail of blood. So my great grandfather used to say like, "Oh, why don't you just sit in the corner?" And that segregation of sitting in the corner became like a part of our culture of like segregation
Is this across
on
the whole
period.
country in Nepal?
Yes. Even now, no matter how educated you are, you know, like you still see like women sleeping on the floor while men sleeping on the bed, you know, like not allowed to go to temple, not allowed to attend wedding, funerals, any of those kind of
And
things.
do you mind me asking, what about Nepalese people who have moved to the UK and, you know, generations? Is it still existing in the UK, this segregation in cultures?
It is maybe not like segregation of home kind of way, but like segregation within the house. That is still stays here. If you look at the Asian culture as well, even now here in Indian culture and stuff, they still won't go to temple when they're on their period. So it's very much ingrained in who we are.
Yeah. Okay. So you're 12. You've had that experience, and what happens next?
Then I think the worst part was then what it began. I went to school. My school, despite it was like a fee-paying school, we literally had 2 toilets, one for the teachers and elder kids, and then all the junior went into one canal. So basically, we had this long canal. Everybody's a squat in wee, and the trail of the wee used to go to the boys' side and then out. I don't know, somewhere in the field. I still don't know where it used to go. But when you're on your period, the whole school knows that you're on your period because you've got a trail of blood running through, right? So quite a lot of the time, that kind of embarrassment, but also you didn't have any changing facilities, you didn't have washing facilities. So sometimes whenever we used to play a game, the pad used to be heavy and fall off and create this whole drama of like everybody just watching you.
Oh my God.
So we used to literally pick that pad up and then just run home. And that's it. And then that really put me off from coming to school. As I grew older, I started like then inventing things. I started like safety pinning my pad on the front and the back. Sometimes it came undone, and that was a horrible experiment to do. Then I started wearing multi-layer underwear. At one point, I started doing like underwear and my mom's sari, and then another underwear. So in a way, that when I was young, I was like kind of prototyping and inventing. Didn't realize at that time I was just like anything I would do to keep that pad in its place and not make it move. That was and then I started watching this TV adverts on like Indian television about this pad called, there used to be a company called Whisper, because obviously you can't tell anyone, right? You just have to whisper. I know. And that was my first ever bought product. Was like I went to my pharmacy and bought a pad with my pocket money. And I was so excited to try this thing. Brought it home. Then I realized that he actually gave me a maternity pad kind of way. It was very much like a mesh with stuffed cotton in it. And I was like, oh my God, this is a hideous thing. But the challenge was like more than the usage. It was once you use it, you didn't know where to throw it, what to do with it.
Yeah, I was listening to you on a podcast this morning, and you were saying that you didn't have any bins at home because you ate fresh food, and you know that's incredible. But just for the maternity pad side of things, how did you dispose of that? Because I'm just thinking, you know, I have a daughter who's 14 and I was 12, 14, and life is difficult enough for teenagers with their changing bodies, but to be dealing with, you know, where do I put this pad, or, you know, peeing into canal and knowing that the color of the blood was going to show up in the boys, all of that would give a child today PTSD, you know, like the anxiety. How is not like half of Nepal, 50% of Nepal not suffering from incredible anxiety from those formative years? But I suppose if everyone's going through it, it becomes, is it less? I don't know.
I think there are other things to actually give you more anxiety than your period, I guess,
maybe
in day-to-day life. You know, like I grew up in a very patriarchal society, and very much at that time when I was growing up, on top of my mind was like, how do I be better than boys? Like the boys were like treated like so big thing, and for me was just like my focus was like anything that can make me better than boys. And I think that was my thought, and all my feelings were going into it rather than actually.
So it's all relative, really. It's in a frame, isn't it? Different frame, the girls today. God, it's incredible. I just realize how and I mean this in the best possible way, how lucky some people are to be born into the bodies that they're born into, and it's, I mean, it's just so inequitable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really. Okay. So you're already experimenting, and your mindset, that's really interesting. Your mindset is that, how can I be better than boys? That's really incredible. So there was this spark within you, obviously, from a very young age.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
So then my teenage year just goes trying to iterate different things. I moved to UK when I was 20. This was in 2010. And my first 3 years of my life in the UK were just mind-blowing. Everything was like magnified in like a different scale and different level. The amount of things that we had in place in here, we still have in place. The privileges that we have got, it's just insane. Like I remember going to the supermarket for the first time and then seeing like an entire aisle just dedicated to period product, like, and you think of it, you got one with wings, without wings, tampon with strings, like, like something completely alien. But it was just, for me, it was like going to candy shop.
Sure.
Every month I used to go and buy a different kind of pads and different brands, so very much like a very exciting moment for me. I didn't have to tell anyone that I was on my period, like that kind of freedom. I can go and cook and clean and do anything. So I think it was such a liberation for me to come to a different country and without any restriction. You can be boys in here if you wanted to,
Sure. Yeah. And can I ask you a question? Do you remember any moments when you heard people in the UK speaking about being on their period, or any moments where you realized that it wasn't necessarily seen as such a shameful thing?
I never heard people, and this is, I think, something that I've observed over the time, is like, in here in the UK, we don't talk about toilet issues and periods or anything like that. It's very much hidden, in a way. Whereas in Nepal, it's very visible. If you see somebody being segregated, you know that they're on their period. If they don't come to a wedding, they're on their period. If you saw like cloth rag being hung outside in the sun, you know that they're on their period, right?
Okay.
Whereas here, it's like, you don't know unless somebody tells you or somebody asks you.
So it's the opposite,
right?
Okay.
It's the opposite. Like, and then I think over the year I started seeing this more and more culture of like hiding pads and tampons up their sleeve, even to go to change, and even in the bin there's instruction of like how to wrap your pad.
You're so right. You're so right.
So that it's not been seen, and it's so much like hidden kind of thing. And I think one of the reasons is like, the more we hide, the more we don't talk about things, people will suffer in silence, right? And I think that is the thing that we are seeing now, is like, if you don't talk about the fact that you have got heavy bleeding or endometriosis or PCOS, you don't know the person next to you is actually going through the same, and actually might have some help or solution, or like going through the same kind of thing, so that it feels very relatable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's very cultural observation.
So how did you end up then coming up with the idea for starting the company?
So 2016, I started going back to university. 2016, I actually graduated at that time. I did environmental science through Open University, and that completely changed my life. I became like avid fan of David Attenborough. I actually got to meet him, and I felt like I met a god. Like it was just an incredible moment for me. And then I just said like, okay, I'm going to dedicate my life to environmentalism, and anything that I do is going to make a significant impact in the world. So I started teaching kids about food waste, and started making my own consultancy, teaching kids about like why food waste is bad for the environment and for health and for money and all this kind of thing. Sainsbury's funded that project for me.
Wow.
And that was like my first time, like you present 600 words application, and they go like, hey, you go, here's your first 36,000 to run this project. And I was like, mind blowing,
Jesus, that's amazing.
I really struggled with finding jobs here in the UK prior to the Sainsbury's funded project. I did pretty much everything under the sun, like I did housekeeping, babysitting, cooking, kitchen, like I used to go around different places in Warner's Bros and Hammersmith, the Disney, to serve like be a sandwich lady and all this kind of thing. Like I cleaned toilets in 2012 Olympics. Like it was just like one of those moments that I had to do everything as an immigrant would do. To get to where I am. And for me, that £36,000 was like, oh my God, like the best thing in the world. And I delivered the project. I think we started going to nearly 16 school at that time in 1 year frame, and basically just opened the door for me to go and talk about sustainability in different schools. So quite a lot of like then NGOs and charities started coming to me and saying like, hey, would you like to run a project? Similar kind of project in sustainability in periods. And at that time I was volunteering for Women's Environmental Network, and I said like, oh, I'll do that pilot project for you guys, and I'll tell you what the kids think about it. Ran this project. Literally, I was so shocked that everybody was terrified to touch a menstrual cup. They were terrified to touch the reusable pad because they all thought it just looked like a granny, like a handmade rag by grandmother or something like that, compared to a very shiny packet of pads and tampons, right, next to them.
Interesting.
So for them, very much the motivation was the aesthetic and the look and feel of how the product is. So on the way back home, I thought like, okay, there is definitely not a nice looking reusable product. So ended up getting a second-hand sewing machine, went to YouTube, learned how to thread the sewing machine.
God, and you're amazing.
Basically, it was just such a on the moment kind of thing. Like I had to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would never know that how it would feel. So
can I just to stop you? Did you know what you were about to do? Like when you said, okay, I've got to get the sewing machine, did you know you were going to make something to do with pants?
I knew that whatever I did when I was growing up of like sandwiching that pad between the pants was the thing that I wanted to do.
That was the idea. Okay.
That was the idea. So because I was telling the girls my story about like reusing rags and all this kind of thing, and went home and I just took my two same pair of pants, cut the side out, wedged my husband's cotton t-shirt inside it, and then restitched it. So I was size 8 at that time. By the time I stitched it, it was size 6, and I made 3 or 4 of them. And I actually, every period, I used to wear a size smaller than my pair of pants, like blood cutting kind of thing, like underwear. But I wanted to see how it feels.
Yeah.
And the best thing was like every time I put the pants on, it was just this revelation of like, I actually don't have to wedge anything in between my leg. There's nothing in between my leg, like it's just like wearing a pair of underwear.
That's amazing.
And it was that feeling that was like, oh my God, it actually is such a liberating moment. And then that was the birth of it. Then I took it to my husband and I said like, okay, I think I've got something here. And, at that time I was doing, my husband is quite, a very lean guy. He used to run this hackathon and all this kind of thing. And now and then he used to take me on the weekend to see how the hackathons are run. And I took part in one of them as well. So I had that very much like lean startup mindset, if you want to do something, do a prototype, test it, learn it, iterate it, those kind of things. Very much with that mindset, 4 months into finding the absorbent fabric, finding the leak-proof fabric. And leak-proof fabric are like very much the same as the one you use in umbrella, it's literally like nothing different.
Okay.
Over the years, we iterated and found a better fabric and all this kind of thing, but it's like that kind of science behind the fabric. And absorbent fabric, we found this, I think the most absorbent fabric in the world. It is using like undersea cabling. So whenever the cable are like put through the pipe, they are wrapped in this fabric. So if there's any like leakage or any kind of thing, the fabric absorbs the water and does not let it go through the circuit kind of thing. Yeah.
God, how did you find that? How did you find that was the most leak-proof fabric?
So, oh my God, it's like such a... started reaching out to every fabric company, and then I said like, oh, can you send me some like tester fabric kind of way, and then they would only send you like little tiny swatches of fabric, right? So and then this fabric manufacturer based in Grimsby, so I actually called them and I said like, look, I need to make a couple of underwear, it literally means that you can start advertising that fabric for something else as well. So it was like very much convincing sales kind of thing.
Interesting.
So they gave me the end bit of that, the roll of whatever the fabric that they were making. And And it worked like magic. I washed it. And for them, it was like a test as well, like somebody was
Okay.
giving them a free
Yeah.
prototype test kind of thing. And then they go like, yeah, we can do it. And then go like, okay, first production comes. And then they go like, oh, well, the minimum
Order
amount that you can, MOQ was, I think, 11 kilometers.
Blah! Oh, hilarious. Okay, not hilarious at the time, but I'm just imagining 11 kilometers of a roll. Okay.
Yeah. That's actually that fabric, and we had to buy it, at that time, and that lasted us 2.5 years of period underwear.
Oh my God.
It was that much because you are just using in the gusset area, right?
Yeah.
So you can make hundreds and thousands of it.
So you found the material, and then you must have found a. Let's pause there on that, because we're going to come back to that. Give us jump forward to today, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many different ranges do you have? You're mainly D2C, right?
Yes.
What does the business look like today, when we've just talked about what the initial, you found the material, you knew what you were going to make. What does it look like today?
So the business is very much D2C brand. We are 82% D2C, 18% B2B. We do have presence in stores like Boots, Superdrug, Morrison's, Ocado, some in France as well. We are in this retailer called La Halle, and we are speaking to quite a few of the big retailer chains in here in the UK as well.
Amazing.
Like the likes of the Tesco's and
Can I
Asda
just say, if
well.
any Tesco or Asda or Sainsbury's buyers are listening to this, or anybody, right?
Yes.
As a mum, okay, I've got a mum of 3 kids. I have got 4 different people in the house, including myself, to buy absorbency products for. Some of those absorbency products are for some of them are for periods, some of them are just for everyday wear. And I would like to be able to go to an aisle, one category that's just called absorbency. And it isn't necessarily, and I would like to be able to buy absorbency wear. I would like to have pants for my 4-year-old that at school that she can be happy wearing. I just think the whole category setup is so archaic. You've got nappies one end, and you've got like old people's whatever. There should be clothes. There should be everything. It needs an entire rethink to all those buyers out there. So start with Ruby.
It's boring aisle. You walk in, and I think some of the retailers were saying us that people spend 3 seconds in that aisle. Yeah. They literally go pick it up.
Yeah. It's
functional. There's nothing interactive. There's no education. There's no variation. It's just boring.
But you sell clothing now as well, right?
We do.
And so thongs and that. None of that stuff is boring.
So 2020, we became the first period underwear to go into a supermarket, right? And that was in Sainsbury's. And then what they would do is they would not take more than 2 sizes or 3 sizes max.
Sure.
So if you are either size S, M, or L, you get your underwear. If you are anything over under the line, you don't get it, right? And that was such a pain point for us. We are such an inclusive brand. We do from 2 extra small all the way to 6 extra large. And people used to write to me, like personally, like, oh, terrible brand, you don't stock for me. And I was like, no, we do. Like, we have got it online. It's just like in the retail phase, we don't have it. So I literally took that problem, went back to drawing room, and I was like, we have to solve this problem. So 3 years ago, we launched this WUKA called WUKA Flex and WUKA Stretch. They are patent pending. One is patent approved, one is patent pending. But they are like initially like a multi-size underwear.
Oh,
so one pair of underwear fits 4 body sizes. That means you can literally have that same 2 SKU space, but it covers almost 95% of the people's body sizes.
You are incredible.
Right? So for me, that was like actually solving the problem. So, when we talk about like how can brand disrupt kind of way, making a product like for like, maybe sustainable is just not enough. You have to invent and innovate. And then work with the retailer, I think so, and try.
This is a great example. Actually, we must use this example in all of the courses that I work on. But for anyone listening who's kind of starting out in their career, there's one thing having a consumer insight that you then base your innovation on, and you solve a consumer need. But what Ruby is just illustrated beautifully here is solving for a customer need. The customer only had a certain number of spaces on shelf, a footprint that they could risk, giving to a startup. And Ruby has gone and innovated to solve the trade customer's need, while still, and probably also, solving for the consumer need. It's just an amazing example of a customer insight and a customer need solved as well. So incredible.
I mean, our customer satisfaction has gone off the roof at the moment, because people buy their underwear, they fit it for the first time.
Yeah.
Your kids are growing, the bodies are constantly changing. You can actually buy a pair of underwear before they start the period and actually know that they will fit.
Yeah.
Even once they
But also different times of the month, and how much food you've eaten, what your hormones are like,
Yes.
Your clothing feels different, right? Okay, so but the
Absolutely.
business is 82% D2C. So what's that side of talk to us about that main side of the business and how you grew it? So I suppose it's probably like my brain goes all over the place. Sorry, sometimes, but you got the actual product right. How did you start selling it then?
Okay, this is I think something that I've learned over so many years is like when you launch a product, don't go into making too many variation in the very beginning.
Okay.
Stick to one product, get it right, get that confidence from the customer. And that's what we did. Like, when we launched our first WUKA, I literally did not have any other product other than black pair of underwear, one pair, one style, one color, but that had a various range of sizes and things. And we stuck to that for a year.
So
a year
did you
and a half.
know that was the right thing to do because you're clever or instinctively, or what rule were you following there? Because I know so many founders I work with, they're like, no, but we've got to have, different flavors, different sizes, different this, different that. And how did you know that was right for you?
For me, it was cash flow.
Cash flow.
At that time, didn't have much money, right? So literally, we raised £7,000 on Kickstarter. And at that time, genuinely, I felt like I got 7 million. And like, how did these people who don't know me are trusting me with like such amount of money, So for me, it was less like when you have got a limited budget and you're thinking of bringing a product into the market, be lean. Do one thing good, and then see whether people will come back again for the same thing or not. And that was very much like, and then I still till today I always say like just be lean. And since we started launching stretch, we actually started cutting down all of the size and style of all of our range.
Okay.
And now we are just trying to do it in stretch because it's less inventory, right? Less stock, less managing, less fulfilling, and all this kind of thing. So also you get better prices, because you're making less amount of, but in like a higher volume.
That's amazing. So. This is like WUKA 2.0.
Absolutely.
That is so cool. So you might put all of your current range into the stretch, and that's what. And so would that range then have pants and your thongs and your shorts? What else would it have? Maybe leggings, cycling shorts.
Yeah, so we're thinking about maybe skirts, this kind of thing. Like
brilliant.
We are, so our customer are like mums and teens.
Yeah,
they are the core customer and heart and soul of everything. Mums, most of the time, when they go past through having baby, that first period often is quite heavy. Mm-hmm. People don't want to use tampons. That is the moment of switch, right? And you need to think about, like, whenever you bring a new product into the market, you need to think about, like, why do people really want to come to you, or why do they care about you? And there are like few moments, especially for us. It's like most of the people that come to us have got heavy flow. They try different products, nothing works for them, so they are in the hunt and for alternative to what works for them. So they stick to us. The next phase of changing moment is like for mums who just had the babies, who don't want to use the horrible nappies in the hospital, but also like going forward just want to have a comfortable life. That's the switch point. And mums with teens who want to give a better life to their daughter than what they had, right? Every parents want that. So for us, like, that is a switch moment. And if we get that teen very early in the years, like pretty much they are a long life customer, right? Because then it becomes a natural thing. Habit change is like the hardest part. And I think that first 3 years of the whole journey of the business was like, you're bringing a new product, educating about the new product, new category, while asking people to change habit that has been stuck with them for like 20, 30 years of their life, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tough not to crack, honestly.
As a mum of a reception kid, I think there's a real opportunity. And I mean, maybe it's not for WUKA because I know that you have to stay focused. But as a mum with a girl in reception, well, she's actually year 1 now. But little leaks do happen because kids are too busy. They're playing. They don't want to go to the toilet. Little boys are even worse, aren't they? But they don't want to go to the toilet. But then they get that little spot on the front of their trousers or on their leggings. And I think me as a mum sending my little ones into school, if I knew that I would feel like I'm shielding them from that wetness or the kind of little kids, they get really sore because they're not wiping properly and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that whole kind of reception, year 1, I think there's a big thing there for clothing underneath, like a skirt, for example, or little pants, fab.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, so you've obviously done a lot of work on understanding your core consumer and the easiest time to talk to them and engage them and show them the product and engage them and make them consider it. How do you deal with the fact that it's obviously the initial outlay in terms of price is more? How much do the products cost? And how do you explain to people? Because that's quite an education. Because if I've only got £3 in my pocket, I'm going to buy some Tampax rather than shell out. How much would I be paying for a pair of your WUKA 2.0?
So the WUKA 2.0 starts at £15.
Right.
£15 all the way to £18. But we have got some of the ranges, like we have got this basic range that starts at £12. And then, again, in the very beginning when I started, every underwear was £30 a pair.
Okay.
Right? But the economy of scale, which means that as we grow, we manage to actually make the cost lower and lower and lower.
Right.
In fact, we actually campaigned to get the VAT removed on the period underwear.
I heard that this morning. I'm absolutely disgusted to hear that. So tell everyone who's listening. So
government basically thought in 2021, they removed the VAT on pads and tampons, made it 0%, but they deemed period underwear as a clothing item, put a 20% tax to it. So since 2021, we have been, I think I wrote, maybe did 6 campaign, met 3 prime minister, can you imagine? And then met so many MPs and were trying to convince, look, these are period product and this should be deemed as a period product. So please, can you categorize in the right category more than anything else so that the VAT gets removed? So after fighting for so many years, last year we managed to get it removed. So beginning of this year, there's no VAT on period underwear.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
Which means, thank you. I mean, that was such a great win, and great win for women, all around the world, people who have period, massive. Yeah. So, and we said the VAT gets removed, we will take the VAT off and sell the underwear in the same price. And that's what we have done. And amazing. So compared to last year, this year is 20% cheaper.
Jesus, that's amazing. Especially in this current environment where our shopping is, 50% more expensive than it was each week. So if I am someone at that stage of life, you're targeting me. So imagine I'm someone with heavy flow. I've just had a baby and it's, that it's the right time to target me. Or no, let's talk about a teen who, is maybe doesn't have the same amount of money, or parents don't have a lot of money these days. Do you have to convince them with the whole price thing, or do people just get it? Do they automatically make that calculation in their heads and say, well, that's going to save me money in the long term?
It's quite a big outlay, and we totally understand. It's like, I always give this analogy of it's like going to waxing every 6 weeks versus getting an IPL laser hair removal. It's the price difference is quite high, right? But once you're done, it's done.
Yes.
Kind of thing. So we do sometimes convince people through pricing, but I think the most important thing is you can sleep on them without having to worry about leaks. And those are the moments for quite a lot of us where we have so much of fear of leaking. And I think we need to catch in that moment. Our sale goes quite high on the morning time. I think most of the people who haven't bought it they will wake up and they're oh, bloody sheets again.
Oh, really?
Then you have to wash
so you see the sales in the morning. That's incredible. So the answer really is that because this is such a difficult issue for people that they go through every month, actually, as long as you message and engage them on the messaging that really matters to them, then pricing isn't that much of a problem.
Yeah. it's a very personal thing, right? So we, on a day-to-day basis, we have got this variety of persona, and we actually go targeting those persona, telling their stories. How do we solve the problem for that person who's got heavy flow, who's going through endometriosis, who's got PCOS? Like, what do they want to hear, and what do they want it to be resolved? And I think very much go that way. And it's a very customer centric. Anything that we do starts with why. Why does our persona feel that?
That's amazing. And how big is your D2C marketing and sales team, your success team?
Six people.
6 people, okay.
It's not. So we do fulfillment ourselves. So we have got a 10,000 square foot warehouse.
Wow.
We've got 5 people in the packing team, and then rest all is like upstairs with marketing. And we've got 1 person in wholesale. So you can see like the amount of energy you put and money you put and invest in it, like that's how it's going to be. So marketing team is big, but the B2B is like quite small.
It's incredible. And I suppose, it's a fabulous strategy, isn't it? Right. Because you're getting out to the people who really are going to become your super fans. And, the time will come to grow through retail. So what are your plans going forward then?
To scale. I think we've now nailed with WUKA 2.0 that we've got the great product market fit, right, to go into retail. And I think this is what we want to do, is like, how do we get into those 80% who still shop their period product with grocers, be in the eyes of the grocers? So very much like focusing on like, can we nail the B2B side of things? Right. Can we be in Asda and Sainsbury's and Tesco everywhere?
Yeah.
And be exactly where there are pads and tampons currently that's available, from that tiny little mini store, the local store, to like big super extra like giant store kind of way. So very much we sit in there, and I feel like just with the 2 product, you fit so many sizes. So
it's incredible.
Making, I think, 4 times better sell-through rate than like what you would do with the sized product. So I think we are in a good position.
I listened to a podcast this morning where you said that sometimes you worry, and I know that lots of founders do. God, are we getting too big? This wasn't necessarily what we were starting out to do. How big do you want to get? How big can you imagine this being? And also, there are other products on the market now, other period pads. Somebody sent me something from the Netherlands recently. How do they compare to yours? And is it becoming a really competitive marketplace, or are you so different with your patent pending products that your products are just going to win?
For a tiny category, compared to like pads, like period underwear is a very small category. I mean, you're looking at maybe less than 1% of all of the period product is like the period underwear. For a tiny category, it really quickly saw the momentum. Quite a lot of retailer came on board. You've got the M&S and the Primarks who came quite early on, because for them it was like almost a sustainability tick box kind of way. Like we'll have a product that has a sustainable agenda. Even just selling the product has got sustainable value.
They're private label versions, aren't they?
They are private label.
And do they perform? Are they good products? I mean,
they do for light flow people and stuff, right? Flow. But the quality, quality varies from different brands. Obviously, for any product, the cheaper you buy, the lower quality you get, this kind of thing. And I think that is our main USP at the moment is this multi-size. It's patent approved kind of way. We have the power to go and scale. We can be in vending machine, we can be in airport, we can be in anywhere, like in every offices, where if the office says like, actually, we want to put a vending machine with period underwear, you can fit those 2 sizes and pretty much it covers everyone in it, right? So I think that really is like a unique position to be in. And brand value, we stand for something.
Yeah.
We have always done. And right now we are campaigning to remove the VAT on period swimwear and sportswear, which they have still kept it. And it's just one of those annoying things. So I think you need to stand for something. And for us is like, how can we champion women, people who have periods in every stages of their life, from first period to last period and beyond kind of way. So for us, it's like, I don't think we have gone deep enough. I think we can still go deep enough to infiltrate more with the brand. And also, again, this is because we are a bootstrap brand, like every month's profit actually goes into hiring next person or adding into marketing and all this kind of thing. So very much like hunter-gatherers mindset still. So
And you
we
use
are hoping to
use as many recycled products as you can, can't you? Don't you?
Oh gosh, yes, we do. And that is something that we highly focus on. Is like we are a B Corp, we are carbon neutral brand. So for us, like the quality of the product is not enough. It has to have like higher sustainable values, um, and we have a reason why we exist.
And do you have any corporate social initiatives with any charities, or what kind of things do you do on that side?
So whenever we have promotion, often the promotion has a purpose attached to it, and that promotion can be giving a discount to the customer, but also doing something else with charities and things. So we closely work with Hygiene Bank, Choose Love here in the UK. We've got Days for Girls in Nepal where we send some underwear in there. We especially work with like blind girls community in Nepal because I think they find it the most difficult in managing the period. So and we do school programs here in the UK. So we have got, I think, just over 300 schools signed up, and we send them samples because at the moment, like most of the school only have pads and tampons to show you to the girls.
Oh, wow.
When they're like just at that puberty kind of lesson. And we are like, that's so biased, like I'm sure like we need to show more choices. So that's another initiative that we are doing at the moment. So any school listening, any teacher, anybody listening, like you can just drop a line to us and we'll send a education pack to your school.
Do you know, I think the government should do what Norway does when somebody has a baby. They send a cardboard box full of goodies for every single person who has a baby gets this box with, nappies and blankets and products and information. Yes. Every kid going into year 5 or year 6 should be sent a multi-size pair of pants, period pants.
Absolutely. And we do work with quite a lot of, so Wales in particular is like very good. And Wales and Scotland, I would say more than England. And then they really have this incredible, intensive period dignity program where, in Scotland, yes, in Scotland, that all the period products are free. But in Wales, they are quite selective of only sustainable period products. So they would not take any single-use disposable, but even if they took, it has to be organic. So I met this woman in Paris. We were doing this content under the Eiffel Tower, and we were talking to some girls about periods in general. And then she goes like, I heard you talk about period. Can I come and tell you my story? And then I was like, yeah, sure. And then she goes like, well, I found my first period underwear in a library in Caerphilly Council, to whom we supply in the libraries and all this kind of thing. And she literally picked up her free period underwear in there. It's like, what a coincidence, like to find somebody from Wales in Paris.
Under the Eiffel Tower just when you were doing that. But that shows the impact you're having. It's absolutely brilliant, Ruby. And I've just, I really highly recommend that anyone listening to this goes to your website, and the amount of different need states that I've got period adults, period girls and teens, swimwear, menopause, incontinence, and under each one you've got super heavy, medium, light, all the briefs, the boxer shorts, the swimwear, the high waist, the savings. It's an incredible website from a D2C perspective. It really draws me in, and it's so obvious what I need to buy. I'm not searching around for ages, save with 7-packs, save with 5-packs, save with 3-packs. It's really fab. You've obviously got a great e-coms team.
We definitely want people to have the best first experience with period underwear. And then the best first experience you're going to get is with 3 pair of underwear. So you have one to wear, one to wash, one next day, kind of way. Because one underwear is not enough. You wear once and then you're like, what I'm going to do next kind of way. Sure. So for us, this packs really helps. And I think people really understand why we are doing this as well. Because we do 40-day customer satisfaction guarantee. Like if you are not happy with it, just send it back to us. And actually, we're so confident that
that's amazing, and I love that. That's 2 insights here. Everyone is listening. The first one is one to wear, one to, what did you say?
One to wear, one to wash, one for next day.
There we go. So one to wear, one to wash, one for next day. I mean, that is consumer insight in a nutshell. And as a result of that need, you put 3 in a pack. We're not just putting 3 in a pack for the sake of it. We're putting 3 in a pack because this is what you need. And we know you need this because we are that person. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then the other one, what did you say the next bit was? Oh, it's this. I can't remember either. It doesn't matter. But it honestly, like, for someone who's come over to a different country, and had to start out doing you're just an incredible mind, incredible business mind. You're doing such great things to change. I love that period dignity. I think that's just wonderful. And the whole of the UK and Ireland and all of the countries in Europe should adopt that.
You know what? I literally saw in the news, I think just on Friday, actually Ireland is also offering pre-period product.
That's great.
So it's fantastic. Hopefully we'll get in Ireland through public sector as well. So.
Well, lots of my friends back home, I've got a gang of girls here where I live, but a gang of girls and guys back in Ireland still, and all of their kids are older than mine, and they're all big WUKA fans. So obviously your marketing is working in Ireland as well. Ruby, it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on. One last question. In 5 years' time, do you have a vision for how big WUKA will be and what impact you might have made?
I think in 5 years' time, my dream would be to at least be 50 million revenue business.
Great.
And, I say this, the product does such a great impact on the social levels, the equality levels and all this kind of thing. But I think there are so few women who see women in business. And I really want it to be an e-commerce business and commercially driven and all this kind of things, just so that more young people see more women in business and feel like they can actually do it. And, and you don't need so much money to get your idea and business get started, focus and determination.
And you can bootstrap it. You don't need to raise and raise and raise and raise and raise.
Exactly. And then, ultimate dream is there should be no girl like me, who have to makeshift any more pads, it should be accessible and affordable to anyone everywhere in the world.
These shoes, is it Tom's?
Tom's, yeah.
And, buy one and we give one. I mean, is that ever a model you've considered? I'm sure in brainstorming sessions you've considered that.
Many times, right? It comes in all this kind of thing. And I think in the very early days, we were like, okay, well, distribution is always going to be a problem, right? So I think with the WUKA 2.0, that actually might be a very easily solvable thing, because, when you send the underwear to any countries, in developing countries, you need to know people's sizes and all this kind of thing. Okay. So I think this kind of solves it. We haven't thought about it yet. I think we might need to prove ourselves first by being in every retailer and then build a model around it.
Because I was just thinking when you said to me,
totally, yeah.
When you said to me that, with different promotions, you support different charities, I would love, I as a consumer, I'd love to have one big thing to hang my, an anchor in my brain. Oh yeah, WUKA, it's the Toms of period care. If I buy that for my daughter, I know that a girl in Nepal is getting a pair, and they're not just getting thrown in landfill. They're like a girl in Nepal is getting a pair. Or a girl in India is getting a pair of the same age. I mean, that makes me feel as a mum just like, wow, and it's just one big idea, and you're so perfectly placed to be the people who stand up and shout for that. Yeah. And now you have the product.
You said, it doesn't go in landfill, right? It stays with you for another 2, 3 years, 5 years to come.
But I think it's one of those things, isn't it, that you think, okay, if I'm giving money to charity, how do I know that the money is actually getting, all of the money is actually getting to charitable cause? I'd also want to know from the kind of the blockchain of the gift that you guys had, a bit like with Tony's Chocolonely, that you guys had the supply chain to get the pants to the people rather than them ending up in a warehouse somewhere. And it just is like, yeah, we give the pants, but actually some partner somewhere just doesn't do it.
Yes.
And because you're from there and I don't know, I just think that would be really cool, really beautiful.
Something to think and maybe put it on the pipeline on the map. Yeah. Maybe, when we hit this, that's our goal. Kind of way. I mean, totally agree. It's, as I said, the rarely product gets born that has got such a great purpose in life, right? From health, from environmental, from sustainability kind of way. Yeah. And I genuinely feel so blessed to be in that position that I actually can proudly say, I've created a product that actually creates this social equity in the world.
Absolutely. And that's why I said to you before we started recording, Ruby, I said, like, help me with this, because I've never felt so uncomfortable about talking about the commercial side of things, because actually what you're doing is creating this impact and giving people the opportunity that there isn't less inequality around periods and period dignity. And you were like, well, we are an ecom business, and that's the reality of it. And the more we grow, the more we're going to be able to make that impact. So that helped me. One of the things I'm just thinking actually is maybe the pitch to all the retailers is, look, here are the numbers. If we can get all four of you come on board, then we'll have enough gross margin, because our cost of goods will be so low that we'll be able to give one, buy one, give one. And a whole, kind of petition to everybody in the UK, lobby your retailers to get us in, because if we have this amount of products that we can order, this amount of products, then we'll be able to do buy one, give one. And it'll be the UK women who have made it happen by getting you listed in the retailers.
That's such a great thing. I think it's a nice way to bring women together.
Yeah.
I think so. Good idea.
Can we catch up separately after the show? Because I really want to stay in touch and help you in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to. I would love to, because now we are starting into more retail and stuff. We are a degrowth brand, right?
Yeah.
For many people.
Absolutely.
We are a degrowth brand. We are shrinking the size of the capital that are currently invested in. So in a way, nobody wants to do period underwear, because especially like the likes of P&G and Bodyform and Essity and all this kind of thing, because for them it's like shrinking their own capital, kind of like
absolutely.
money coming in. So it's such a tricky kind of position for us as well. Like, once you get a customer for with 5 or 7 pair of underwear, they don't come for 2 years because they don't have to come for 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so it's such a dilemma for like trying to be an e-commerce or commercial kind of driven brand, but also know that actually you are just shrinking the whole thing. Degrowth.
Almost every time you sell something, you're shrinking the market. Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's just so many different. I mean, there's everybody in every family has a need for a different type of WUKA at some stage of their life.
Yes, they do. They do. I mean, market is big. We haven't penetrated that much, right? So it's just still in the surface. It's still very digital first kind of thing. We are not present in like mini retailers. So I would love to have a chat, and we are at the moment looking for funding and things as well.
Okay, well, let's give a shout out to that. So you're looking for funding. What are you looking for? Who let's put that shout out there.
Well, I think it'll be impact-driven brand. I would love impact-driven fund who would understand where we're coming from. And as I mentioned, just with the period underwear, we are very much like trying to, I think, do more, a purposeful brand, I would say. So, yeah.
Ruby, we've been on for nearly an hour. I know you have to go at 11. Thank you so much for your time. We're massive fans of WUKA in our house, and I will continue to spread the news amongst all of the mothers in my life, of which there are very many. You're such an inspirational human being.
Thank you.
And I'm wishing.
And you are such an honestly, like, I'm so glad that we spoke, and we're still friends, and we are talking to each other. You're just incredible, and a kick-ass, survivor, and like, honestly, like, hats off. But
well, hats off now, because I have my hair back.
Yes, I know. I'm looking for. Have you chopped at all, or this is just like?
No, I keep chopping it. I keep chopping it because I tried to grow it out, and it was just such a disaster, because it grows in all different directions, and some of it's curly, some of it's straight, and it just was like hideous. So I just thought, okay, I'm just going to have to keep it short. So I'll keep it short.
Till it grows long. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it looks cool though. You look very cool.
I'm getting to the age now, I'm 48 now. And I think when you're 42, 45, when I set up this business, so Brown Growth Heroes is I think 5 years old. Yeah. I was still, I suppose, like youngish. And now it's funny, you get to 48, and especially when you've been through what I've been through in the last 2 years, you feel middle-aged, or you feel like you're more of a middle-aged person. Well, I do, which is weird. I'm sure there's plenty of 48-year-olds out there who don't. But something's shifted.
I think running any business for 5 years, any business for 5 years, then after 5 years, you feel like, okay, I need to like slow down kind of way. And I felt that, like we are in 6th year, 7th year, and I just feel like, oh, this is so exhausting kind of way.
Yeah.
And you have that moment, and it's okay to take rest. I think so. And now and then I have got this advisor, and I just feel like I just want to cry today, and I just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things. I think you give so much energy in that first 5 year into starting any business. It's just, and you went through the
mill.
But
the exciting thing is I've come out the other side with the 2.0, which is the Brand Growth Heroes Mini MBA powered by Elantra, which is going to be running again January, February to March or April. And we're going to have some really exciting new partners for that program.
Fantastic.
So
Elantra has got a very good reputation, by the way. Like, I know.
I'll be so happy to hear that.
Yeah, Joanna was talking about it as well, and I think we are part of this By Women Build, and you should join that as well.
I've tried to. They won't let me. They won't let me join.
Okay,
because I haven't built anything physical. Even though my course, you could say my course is physical, it's physical courses, and there's lots and lots of PDFs and lots of videos. Please ask her, because I really want to be part of your community.
Yeah, because I think it will bring such a great value, and also like you are F&B, right? Pretty much every brand in there is like F&B brand kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for you to actually come in, and they should have you as a mentor. I think so. It's like just for like the whole.
I'd love to.
Overall, for all of the businesses.
And also, it's
okay. I'll introduce you.
Not just F&B, also home care and anything that's in a package, basically, because I've done lots of, cleaning products and pet food, and we've done, children's cutlery, and we've done lots of things. Anything that you can sell D2C or in retail in a pack, that's what we do. Okay,
funding comes in, maybe help us get into retail. I'll come to you.
Absolutely, but I don't think you'll need any help. I don't think you'll need any help.
Yes, I do. No, but like you've got like such a credibility, right? And I think sometimes you have to take like people who have got tools under the belt and into the room marching and just like showcasing what you've got, so that they can't say no.
I think where I come in is I can sit down and help you, give you the confidence that you have it all there, and help you reorganize I'm not saying you, a person, reorganize, rearrange, and put it all into a nice package. You guys. The beauty of it is you guys, you amazing founders, have it all. Sometimes you just need a bit like a coach, someone to sit down with and put it in the right place, like a jigsaw puzzle, and then have the confidence be told by someone who's been there. No, that's perfect. That's all you need now. You don't need anything else,
I think like Joanna mentioned, like we just don't have that enough information and confidence to go out with kind of way with, we don't know, I think, the market share. We don't have the data.
You don't need to know any of that. So this holds everybody back. So, and this is a conversation for another day, but don't let that hold you back. First of all, if D2C, focusing on growing D2C is the right thing to do, then that's what you should be doing, and you're doing the right thing. However, if getting into retail was also the right thing to do, right, with very specific customers, which you've already done, with very specific customers in a very specific way, in a controlled way, and that wasn't going to take away from your D2C focus, then don't let what you don't have hold you back, because it is really easy to find out anything. And also you can ask the question, do we really need to know that? Or do we not already have case studies with the retailers we're with, which you do? So never let that hold you back. There's always my motto is, there is always a way around everything. There's always a way around it. And just, do not let that hold you back.
Okay. Let's do another catch up whenever you're around, because I've got because I think again, team and all these people.
Brilliant. No problem.
I don't know. Yeah, no problem. This kind of thing. I think also in your circle, if anybody is looking for a role in sales and marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Swing them over.
Okay. You're always recruiting, are you?
Yes. At the moment, we are looking for national account manager and things, because we've got only one person in the wholesale. I think she's stretched too thin. We definitely need either retail director or.
Okay, I'm going to introduce you to someone amazing who can help you, who will be able to help you. Super. Okay. Ruby, brilliant. I am so happy to have caught up with you. You are doing such great things.
You are so
honest. No, I have not done what you. I'm not doing anything like what you're doing, and you are amazing. So I'm going to go now. Okay, but I'm sending you a massive hug. All right.
Thank you. A big hug as well.